water, almost equally as warm as the milk. That's what you put the water. And you mix it all up until it sort of melts down. It's a little floppy, isn't it? You know, when you put it in. And you add that to the milk that is also room temperature. And you put it in and you mix it in really well. And you put the spoon in that you mixed it, and you leave the spoon in there because that's half the secret if you're going to know. So I'm going to let Antonietta tell us now, what do you do? We're this far along. We have the milk, we have the junket tablet, we have everything the right temperature, and it's about an hour, I'm going to check that, since we first did this.
Right.
We put this in the pot. Now tell us what we have to do now.
We turn the stove back on.
You have to, yeah.
Okay.
Is it
On medium. On medium.
Okay.
And then there comes the spoon. That's the test to see if the cheese is ready.
Right.
So it's ready. So we just turn it, and we turn it until it warms up again.
Is it cold again, or is it still warm?
It's warm.
Okay.
And we warm it up as much as we can.
You can see it's starting to come together, to curdle. That's not the right word, but you know.
Yeah, it's crawling.
To bind.
It's crawling. Right now it's crawled. See?
Don't they call curds and waves?
I don't know.
When they're making milk or cheeses, they have the liquids, I think, curds, and the little bits and pieces as waves, or the other way around. I'm not up on my milk.
Okay, now we put my hand in there and start putting the cheese together on one side.
You do this all with your hand?
Until it's hot enough. And then if it's too hot.
Let me take this from you.
Yeah. Lower.
You can actually see the milk separating. I mean, like the water part from the particles.
See this?
This is a wonderful
cheese. You gotta
cheese.
really, really shake it when you turn it. Now it's getting too hot. This is what we used to make them back home in Italy.
Where's home in Italy?
In name of the
where you came from?
Abruzzi.
Abruzzi, Italy.
The name of the town is Cesano. I learned this from my mom. She made it every morning.
Well, you came from a farm, didn't you? She made it every morning.
Every morning. We used to have our own milk cow.
Was this breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or however?
No, we used to dry it out and then sell it.
Oh,
to make money.
It's a business. But you grew up on a farm, didn't you?
Yes. We had animal and we had farm. We had.
Well, if you have more than a cat and a dog, it's a farm to me.
We were going on the farm and growing vegetable and all this stuff.
I think there's a
So I think we can shut it off because it's getting hot and it's getting nice and together.
Antoinette came to Norristown on a real unusual path. First she went to Switzerland and spent, what, 5 years?
2 years.
Oh, I'm sorry, misunderstood that. We went to Switzerland.
No,
we'll get back to that.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I can wait.
And then she went to Canada for a few years?
No.
No? Didn't you come into Canada?
No.
Oh, see, I learn something new every day. I must have my stories mixed up. I worked with so many people that told me their stories that I misunderstood. But I do know you were in Switzerland for a couple of years. And she was married at the time, and when she came with her husband, Tony. We wanted to have Tony with us tonight to show us some of his good wine, but he's not feeling too well, so she left him home.
In bed, I hope. Okay, now we're getting ready to put it in form. Okay. So I'm cutting it in half because it's too big to grab it.
Now, Anthony, you have this nice little cheese basket. But what if you didn't have a cheese basket? What could you put it in?
I really don't know. That's what I was always used.
Okay. Well, you know, there's so many those little plastic baskets out today and all.
I always use this. I don't know. Because they sell it around Easter time, and I always save it. If I want to make it in the middle of the summer, in the middle of the winter, and we just buy the cheese and we have the form.
Do you think
Now
you could
in Italy they used to have them, and it was made out of basket, just like the basket. It wasn't plastic like this.
Do you think you could get the same result if you put it in cheesecloth?
Probably yes. Yeah. It's just won't be designed, but it will be.
This makes a very cute
You can
design.
just put it in a dish, and then just squeeze it down into the dish. So you might have a little piece here and there left over, but that's not a big, not much there left. See, they didn't get together. That made a nice big one.
That made an extremely big one.
Now
Well,
you
how
keep
much will that
pushing
shrink?
in there. It might be even with the form.
Because I'm going to
Keep
show you.
draining as we working down.
Okay, you keep doing that, and I'm going to get.
As we pushing it down, the juice is coming off, and we drain it. And of course, the cheese sticks together because there's a little line there. So when you go, if let's say you want to dry this, it will come apart. So you try to make it as tight as possible. Look at the water.
A lot of water, huh?
Well, see, because I can't do it with my hand in the inside there because it's too hot. But I like to make it warm. You shouldn't make it too hot. It's just like, a little bit more hot than usual. So it will stick together. We wait a little more, we can pat it a little more and bring it down. And then we put it in our hand and we squeeze it this way. And then we turn it upside down. Oh, there's a piece missing. It's okay.
I'm going to eat it.
Yeah.
So that's how you get the design on the top and the bottom.
That's where the design's coming from. There you go.
And here we have, due to the magic of television, a finished product. The same idea. It might be a little smaller. We're not sure until that shrinks down what size it'll be. We have, due to the magic of television, we have this wonderful finished product, and I'm just going to flip it out on the thing, and make sure you save these, don't throw these away. I asked Antonietta about using strawberry things, but she said the holes are too big and cheese will come through.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you can find something. Just look around in the dollar stores or whatever. So here we have this wonderful finished cheese, and I'm going to slice a piece for you. And what you can do, there's just such, this is like, you can do so many things with it. You can serve it with tomatoes and basil and drizzle olive oil on it, or you can put it into salads. You can dry it, like Antoinette said, in the refrigerator, uncovered.
Uncover with a little bit of salt.
And then you let it dry, and it gets harder, and you can grate that for other uses. It's very fresh. It's just a beautiful cheese. Let me cut another piece. I think my favorite thing with this is just to put black pepper on it and eat it.
Very good.
Yeah, that's a very good way to do it. So I really am glad you got a chance to come and show us this. And what we're going to do, if anyone wants the recipe, it's very easy. You saw what we did, and you really had to see what she did to do it. But now that you've seen it, I think most of you can probably make it. And if you write, to Downtown Kitchen, Post Office Box 1660, Norristown 19404. We'll make sure you get all the details of what you need and instructions, and we'll send them out to you. And I'm just so pleased that you came today. And as I said, I sort of had to convince Antoinette she wanted to come and do this.
You can taste it.
Can I taste it?
Sure.
I already did taste it. It came, you know, the big hunk on the bottom.
That was hot.
But don't worry, I will taste it a little later on. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi, I bet some of you don't know what this is. This is a bookmobile. It's a full-size library. Why don't we go inside and see what it's all about? Come on. Where's the door? Here it is. Oh, here we go. It's really nippy out there. Ooh, that was... Here we are. Don't you see all the shelves and all the books, just like your library? The bookmobile library offers you a lot of services. Maybe Joe Hood, the driver, can explain some of the services that are offered by the bookmobile.
Welcome aboard the bookmobile. As Betty said, we do have a lot of services. Aside from the normal books that you see, we also have a fairly decent large print section over there. We have videotapes and books on tape, audio cassettes here that people listen to in the car.
They're real popular, those audio tapes. They get more popular every day.
Really, a lot of people use them on their commutes back and forth to work. Also, if somebody's looking for a specific book, we take a request here and take it into the library. They'll find the book in there, either from our library or from other libraries, and then they send the patron a card in the mail to let them know when to pick it up at their stop.
That's a great service. They're able to get books from, like you said, all over the country, all over the world. In fact, I think recently they got some books from Italy or England. I'm not quite sure where. But they do this through ILL, which is an interlibrary loan. And this is at no cost to the patron unless there is a charge by the institution that you're asking something from. It's very small if there's any charge. It's really a free service. And it's really very popular, and I don't know the statistics on it. I really should, but I don't know the statistics on it, but I know it's used all the time, and people are always looking for books, materials, not just books, everything they need. The library, if you haven't been to a library before, recently I should say, I hope we've all been to a library sometime in our life, check one out. Check out your regular local library or a bookmobile. You usually see them sitting on the parking lots of shopping centers and other places of business, and they also have a schedule of where they're going to be. There are many, many stops on the western Montgomery County, western part of Montgomery County, I should say, and they're all listed here. All the stops are listed. The times are there, the dates are there, and the hours and everything. So if you want one of these bookmobile schedules, if you write to me at my post office box, Downtown Kitchen, Post Office Box 1660, Norristown, Pennsylvania 19404. We'll get one off to you right away. And if you're really good, you'll send a self-stamped addressed envelope like you usually do for everything you get from Downtown Kitchen. The bookmobile service is a service of the Montgomery County Norristown Public Library. But if you live in other counties throughout the area, please check with your local library, and they can tell you what services they have to offer.
Limerick Country Deli, where the big rigs and the locals go for a complete assortment of deli sandwiches, eat in or take out. Stop by for your Pennsylvania lottery tickets, cold beer, or just to use the no surcharge ATM. Featuring dairy products, fresh baked goods, deli meats and cheeses, automotive and household supplies. Open every day. Stop in, call, or fax your order. Limerick Country Deli, the little store that has it all, with the best sandwiches in town.
Well, here we are back in the kitchen, and I decided today I was going to do something a little different. We just had the Italian Easter cheese, and what I'm going to make today is for the Passover, the Hebrew Passover, and it's called Harosis, and it's an apple, a condiment type thing. It's hard to explain. You'll see when I put it together what I'm talking about. It actually symbolizes the mortar that the Jewish ancestors used when they did the labor of Pharaoh. When they did all his work and built buildings and did everything he wanted done, this dish symbolizes the mortar that they put out, or the mortar they used in their celebration. Again, it's for Passover. I think a lot of you know this, but I'd just like to mention, some people always wonder why Passover and Easter always fall on top of each other, really on top of each other. And the reason behind that is that the Last Supper was a Passover Seder. So, of course, they're always commemorated around the same time. The times they are a little different due to the calendars are different. But it always happens. I know sometimes Hanukkah and Christmas come at the same time, but they don't fall on top of each other as much as Passover and Easter, and they don't have any connection or symbolism, symbolic things with each other. This actually does, because the Last Supper was a Passover Seder. They're very intricate, involved parts of each other. And today I'm going to make what I said it was called harosis, and it's apples and dates and walnuts, and it's all blended together. So first I'm going to take my apple, whatever kind you like. I have what am I using here? A wine sap. I happen to like very hard apples, and it holds up nicely in this. So you just take one apple, that's all you need. I would say for about 2 to 3 people. If you have a lot of people, then you have to have more. I'm going to quarter this also. Now, the reason I didn't get any of this ready before you came was apples get black if you don't process them the right way. They don't sit out very well waiting around to be worked on. So then I'm going to clean this. Maybe I should have cleaned it before I cut it, but it doesn't really matter. It's just a little harder to handle. I'm going to put that there. Well, while cleaning these, I want to tell you a little bit about how I got to say harosis. It isn't the easiest word for me to say, because if you look at the actual spelling, it said charoset, and of course if you'd say that, most Jewish people would laugh you silly because they know that that's not the proper way to say it. So I had a friend of mine who told me the correct way to say it and tutored me into saying it constantly, and would call me up in the middle of the day and say, okay, tell me how do you say it? And I'd have to tell them, and luckily I did pretty well. I remembered, and of course everyone has their secrets how they remember words. Well, I had my secrets, and I'm not going to tell you. You want to remember how to say horosette? I said it very slow. Then you figure out your own. It's not horos, correct. Now I did it wrong again. Oh my, Shirley's going to be very angry with me. It's horoses. It's horoses. That's right, Shirley. So I'm sorry. I made you look bad. So what I'm going to do now, see what I like to do, I'm used to my traditions and my heritages, and I know all about them. I always like to learn about something new with a new heritage and a new tradition, and it can be many, many different kinds. So that's why I decided to do this. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to take the apples, and we're just going to, but this is a real hard apple, do a nice size, I guess. Or you can grind these if you really want it soft and mushy in little pieces. I never particularly cared for it that way. I prefer bigger pieces. This is great. This, I know we're talking about this being made for Passover, but this is a wonderful condiment year-round for anything you want to serve it with, different kinds of meats and different kinds of vegetables. It's just very tasty, and I'm going to tell you, I love it. And what I'm going to show you here, I love these little cutting boards because you can pick them up and they bend. And you can get everything in there at one time. Of course, I can be messy, as always. Now I have in here the one apple chopped up. I have a half a cup of nuts, walnuts, fairly well chopped. And then I have a half a teaspoon of cinnamon. That gives it a nice little flavor. I think I have too much in the bowl, so I won't put it all in. And then I have a quarter of a cup of chopped dates. They're nice little dates. Now what I need to do is get a fork and mix all of this together so they're nice and even. Now this is still very loose and very fluid, and I guess it's pretty good just like that. But the secret is, of course, you need 2 tablespoons of honey. And I love these squeeze bottles because, you know, honey sticks pretty much on the spoon. And I'm just going to squeeze in what I think. That's 1 tablespoon. And here's 2 tablespoons. Now, whoops. And we start slowly mixing that through. Now we're going to get the binding effect with the honey. A little more binding thing. Here we have some wine. This wine was made by Tony Mucciarone, who is Antoinette's husband. But he was ill today, like I said, and he didn't get to come, so I wanted to use his wine in making this. Now, of course, if you're making kosher, you don't use this wine, you use kosher wine. But in most cases, tonight we're not doing it kosher because I didn't have all the kosher, like the cinnamon, everything. You can get everything at the supermarket today. So this I'm just making to enjoy and to eat and not for Passover. So I'm going to use the wine that Tony makes. Tony makes this in he's a home winer, I guess I would say. And you just you use 1 to 2 tablespoons, maybe 3, depending on the consistency of it. Then you see how you would like it. This will keep in the refrigerator for about 2 weeks in a jar. Here I salvaged one of my jars. I'm a big jar collector in the neighborhood. I'm always looking for jars, all sizes, all kinds. And I think maybe it needs a little more. Smells great. You know, many people make a fine red Italian wine, but Tony is one of the few that do a great white wine or a blush. I think so anyway. Yeah, that's a nice consistency, and it coats everything. And then what I would do, if I want to keep it for a couple days or next week or something, I just take the jar, like I said, like this. We just fill the jar up. We put the cap on. I mean, it's real simple once we get it all filled up. This is a pretty big jar. And put it in the refrigerator, and you can have it anytime you want. It's really good with chicken and anything like that. It's just excellent. Something I want to mention. A few weeks ago, I was here with Peggy, who did the crab cakes, and we had that funny spoon, the wooden spoon with the hole in the middle. Well, we didn't know what kind of spoon it was, and we showed it on TV, and she used it. And one of our viewers, and I hate to tell you, I didn't look up the name, and I should have to thank them, told me what kind of wooden spoon it was, and it's a pudding spoon. And why the hole's in there, when you're mixing the pudding and the milk and, the mixture, it makes it a much finer pudding because there's more size mixing the mixture. And so this wooden spoon that had the hole in the middle was a pudding spoon. And I again thank the viewer who told me what it was and apologized for not having the name. But I think it's something that's, it's interesting. I often go in and look at new utensils in the stores and the dollar shops and, whatever I think is there to look at, and I try them out. But just remember, it's too many times when you buy something really cheap, that's exactly what it is. It doesn't work, and then you hate it and never use it again. Well, this is it. I filled up the jar, and I'm going to put that in the refrigerator, and I have quite a bit left over here, so I'll either be forced to eat that now or put it in another jar. So I hope you enjoy this and have some good holidays. This is some good holiday eating and good holiday cooking. Well, wasn't that a great evening of cooking? I sure think it was. All the things that I love the most, we got to cook tonight. I love that cheese. I really do. Well, I'll get away from that again. And first of all, I want to thank our Limerick Country Deli, who's been a sponsor of ours all along, and they're right along with us again. And we have a new sponsor tonight. It's the Montgomery County Norristown Public Library. And I think you all know that I do work there. I am the administrative assistant. And we had an opportunity to make a spot with them, and I think you really should have enjoyed that spot. We did see it already. And you learned some new things about the bookmobiles and the services that not only the Montgomery County Norristown Public Library has to offer, but all the things that all libraries have to offer. Just call your local library and they can help you with what you need to know. I want to mention one thing quickly. My cookbook, Downtown Kitchen, there's a few copies of the book left. If you really would like to have it, I'm not trying to push it. I'm just saying, if you'd like to have it, there are a few copies available. I'm just saying, if you'd like to have it, there are a few copies available. It's $13, and you send to Downtown Kitchen, Post Office Box 1660, Norristown, Pennsylvania 19404, because there's a very limited amount left, and I'm not just putting you on. There's very few of the books left, and I think if you want one, you need to get it now, or there'll be no more in a very short period of time. I do quickly want to mention that if you know anyone interested in advertising on Downtown Kitchen, that they contact me, Betty Banjak, at area code 610-277-0139, and we can talk and we can see what we have to offer each other. And I think that's it for tonight. So good cooking and good eating. Hi, I'm Betty Banjak, and this is Downtown Kitchen. Well, today we're not in the Downtown Kitchen. We're at the Limerick Country Deli once again with my good friend Carol Colston, who I worked with before, and I've always enjoyed it. And she's going to show us some great dishes today. I sort of consider this my field trip day. You know, every once in a while we get out of the kitchen and we go to someone else's kitchen. That's going to be fun later on when I'm going to be making pancakes not for the first time making pancakes, but on a commercial grill, which is their grill. So I don't know if I look forward to that, but it'll be an interesting thing to use their grill. So good morning.
Good morning, Betty.
The thing is, we usually film at night, but we filmed very early this morning. We decided to get up and at them at an earlier time to give everyone more freedom for the day. And of course, the store stays open today.
Yes, the store is open today at 10:30, closed at 7.
Yeah, and it's not open yet, so that sort of tells you what time it might be. So Carol's going to get started. She's going to make Manhattan clam chowder, which is the red clam chowder.
Yes,